There are those of you who believe that racism is long gone and that black people have just an issue with life in and of itself in America. You couldn't be more infinitely wrong. Racism hasn't gone anywhere. It's only become more insidious. By we, I mean black people, we decry the justice system because it doesn't seem inclusive of us. Well, that's because it's not inclusive of us. It was never meant to be. It was never designed to protect black people. It was designed to protect white people because it was invented by white people, and it was... We were in a situation where we were property. We were actually by the same justice system that we've used to free ourselves, which is an incredible distinction on this planet. But that notwithstanding, we were property. Literally, property. So, the evolution of a justice system that considered you property, it's either going to be slow or non-existent. And it has been all too easy to maintain the status quo over centuries. And the change has been fought tooth and nail each and every time it's been introduced. Black Lives Matter was not at the heart of what happened to these officers at all. That was one man's frustration boiling over. Make no mistake though, black people everywhere know that frustration. There will be some of us that may choose not to try and identify with it, or maybe even choose not to try and acknowledge it, but all of us know it. The secret, I suppose, and I propose, is to act on said frustration in constructive ways. Everyone says we need to pray about what happened in Dallas. Well, all of us believe that justice was served, probably. But we don't get that justice. We don't get any. The police officers that kill kids, women, and men whose skin happens to be black, whether or not they are armed, whether or not they are, in the eyes of some of you people on Twitter and social media, whether or not they're deserving of these results, we get them. White people don't, by and large. Anytime a white person can shoot up a church and then be brought some Burger King after that's such a slap in the face, it's almost funny. But we don't get that. We get knees in our chests, fists in our faces, and bullets in our bodies. So perhaps you can forgive us if we are somewhat numb to things like police officers being killed. And no, I'm not saying that I am. I'm not telling you that I'm happy that these officers got shot. I'm not telling you that I'm happy that there was a shooter in the first place, because I'm not. As much as I love to fight, and as much as I'm about retaliation, that kind of retaliation that just ends up with everybody dead. And even worse, black people are at a disadvantage with reference to numbers. So that would end up with all of us dead. Don't want that. But we do all have to live here. And whether white people like it or not, we're not going anywhere. So I guess the question is how we get to the common ground, how we get to some measure of equality between us. That whole separate but equal thing, that didn't work. Showing us what you believe is justice, and showing us what you believe we should be thankful for, that may not be the case, because it may not be anything. We watch white people commit the same crimes and get far more lenient treatment than we do. So that irks us a bit. And needless to say, that was me making light of the situation. there is a bottom line with reference to the justice system. It was never designed to be inclusive of black people. So we have a literal uphill battle, but the only way we can fight that battle is through education. And everyone says we need to pray, and I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. I'm not saying that prayer doesn't change things. However, there's a saying that my mother taught me, and that's that God helps those who help themselves. So there's some actions we need to take, whether it's becoming more involved politically or becoming more aware consciously. There are actions we need to take. We can't just simply pray about something or wish about it or anything else outside of acting on it and think it's going to change. So that's just some food for thought.